Let's start this section with the lasso tools. These are helpful when you want to make a rough selection, and their main advantage is their speed. You have 3 of them in total, and their hotkey is L. We'll take them one by one, starting with the first one from this list. The regular lasso tool works sort of like a pencil. You grab it and then you can draw anywhere on the canvas to make a selection. It doesn't offer any particular options other than anti-aliasing, which should always be turned on. Besides that, you also have the feather option that creates soft edges. We talked about that in a previous lecture, there's nothing new about it here. So what's the lasso's purpose? When you draw on your canvas, you can't use the Shift key to create straight lines, nor do you have any other features. Yes, you can use the same modifier keys that you've used for the marquee tool. Shift adds to the selection. Notice the plus symbol next to the cursor. Alt removes parts of it. And Shift and Alt combined will give you the intersection between these two. We've seen these before. This doesn't appear to be that precise, and indeed it's not an amazing tool by itself, but here's the catch. In most real scenarios, you'll never use just one selection tool. This is why we have a special chapter dedicated to this subject. All these tools intertwine with each other. You create a rectangular section with the marquee tool, then you jump in with the lasso to remove parts of it. You use the magic wand, but then you further improve your selection by removing a big chunk with the lasso tools. And there are many scenarios where these are helpful, so for that reason I decided to show you how you can use them. So the lasso tool is used to quickly pick up something from the canvas. It's not that precise, though if you use a tablet you might get better results. In general, you'll use it to adjust another selection, mostly when you'll want to include or remove fairly large parts. Going over to the polygonal lasso tool, this has the exact same features as the normal lasso, anti-aliasing and feather, but it has better precision because it relies on clicks. This is great when you have straight objects like the building we have here. At any point I can click and change my direction, but notice there's no give, we only have straight lines. So if your object has any curves, this is not the ideal tool for the job. Still, this is very fast and kind of precise, which is a pretty good combination in most cases. This can be used by itself, but in general you might need to use a few other tools to get a perfect result. A thing to notice, don't confuse the polygonal lasso with the polygon tool. They're two completely different things. This one here creates shapes, and we've yet to talk about it. This one creates selections. Okay, moving on to the magnetic lasso tool, this is actually a fantastic thing. Immediately we get more features at the top, and those control the tool's behavior. First, let's see it in action. I'll click and I'll start hovering over the edge of this building. It's important you understand I'm not clicking at all. I clicked once for my initial point, and now I'm just moving my mouse. Photoshop is automatically adding these anchor points based on the frequency I set up top. The higher I raise it, the more anchor points I'm going to get. Why is that important? Well, if the shape is complicated, more anchor points will result in a better selection. If I think Photoshop isn't placing the right amount or in the right places, I can click myself to add a few. Plus, if I somehow mess things up and I don't want to start over, I can just press the backspace key. This will delete your last anchor point, and you can continue on the correct line. As with all selections, you need to go back around to the original point and close it off. You'll see the cursor will change its appearance. Fun thing is, you can go really fast, and if the image is fairly clear, Photoshop will still do a great job. If the image is washed out, you may need to ramp up the contrast. Regarding the width, that's the area where Photoshop looks for the edge. It's usually a good idea to leave it at around 10 pixels. Okay, that's the magnetic lasso tool, a pretty solid option for making fast selections with fairly high accuracy. I won't cover all these settings in depth because it's rarely, if ever, used in real projects. All these lasso tools will probably be used only a fraction of the time compared to the magic wand and the quick selection tool. Still, you have this image attached, so I recommend you try to use the polygonal and magnetic lassos to select a building. Then press Ctrl J and put it on a white background so you can see how well you did. Have fun!